The 22nd of February 2021. 1. Pick a good paper and listen and record. 1 to 5 times minimum if possible. 2. Listen to the recorded paper or paper with good music. Take note to transcribe important points. Most efficient. 3. Prep Q and or search online for Q and find questions from school assignment. What is something? What is along the way? Who introduced it? Evaluation. What is the importance, benefit, reason and things? Analyze. What are the connections, how things fit together and are related? Premises and conclusions. Avoid daydreaming or prejudgment. 4. Build mind power. Find example pictures, videos, concept map, mind map. 5. Visualize by writing. Paraphrase the transcribed notes. Notice which words we cannot live without, in other words which words must stay. We cannot change these words. Notice which words we can change. Next is changing the grammar. 6. Draw concept map if possible. 7. Use recorder and listen. 8. Repetition. 9. Stay focused, learn fast and use quick ways. 10. Make sure to focus, use timing, and then rest. Customer and user perception of value, and what it means to designers. Often, we talk about value, and we mean financial value, a concept that can be measured in dollars and cents or pounds and pennies or whatever currency is near to hand. However, financial value is not the only motivating factor for users and consumers to invest in a product. In fact, it is the perception of value, both financial and non-financial, that drives the decision to adopt or not to a product. Questions. What is a value in HCE? What is perception? Perception, in a sense, makes user experience design possible. If no one is viewing, perceiving or experiencing your product, does the product exist? Perception is in play from the moment your customers learn about a new product to the moments after they purchase it and evaluate how they feel about it. Stimuli, emotions and opinions all impact and affect perception. Therefore, it is important for the UX designer to be familiar with perception and related concepts. What is perception? Interaction Design Foundation and 9DF at interaction-design.org. Needs, wants, demands. It's often said that it's important to give a user what they need through product design, and not to examine wants at all. It is true that if a product fails to meet a user's needs, they are unlikely to find it useful, and thus, unlikely to adopt it. However, it is not true to say that a user will not prioritize their wants over their needs. Think about cars. Both a Skoda and a Ferrari do a similar job for their users. They meet the need of being able to get from A to B quickly and efficiently. The Ferrari may be faster, but in terms of meeting needs, this should be irrelevant. Both vehicles have top speeds which, except in very specific circumstances, exceed national speed limits. Yet, there's no doubt that there's a market for the much more expensive Ferrari. If users only bought products based on need, the market for Ferrari should not exist. In fact, many products that are sold in today's market meet a mix of customer needs, and their wants too. Wants and needs become demands when they are supported with the financial means to buy. This is important because catering to wants and needs without such support is likely to lead to business failure. If there is no demand for a product, it will not be adopted by the market. Demands are executed based on the customer or user's perception of value. Perception of value. It is important to note that perception of value is not constant and may vary significantly from one user to another. For example, in the last section the author compared the value in a Skoda to the value in a Ferrari. Neither of these two cars would have any value to the author, who cannot drive. Yet, many other people draw a distinct value from driving a car. In Peter Doyle's A Value-Based Marketing, published by Wiley in 2000, he offers 4 concepts of value, which add up to the perception of overall value. Financial value is the product provided at a reasonable price point. It is worth noting that reasonable is very difficult to define, as it involves the user or customer making multiple trade-offs between the costs of other things they want or need, the value of competing items, and their ability to pay. Social value: how does the product enable the user to connect with others? How does it improve the status of the user in other people's eyes? Psychological value: how does the product enable the user to feel about themselves? Does it bring them pride, pleasure, happiness, etc.? Some psychological values, both good and bad, are shown in the image below. Value may be expressed in 2 forms: quantitative, e.g. an amount, or qualitative, e.g. a description. It's hard to rate happiness, for example, in a number, even though it doesn't stop market researchers from trying. If you're struggling with where to create value, it can help to remember what the Fast Company said in 2005: design's fundamental role is problem solver. Engaging with perceived value. Designers and marketers can engage with perceived value by conducting market research. They will want to establish: why do users choose their product? What are the attributes and benefits of that product that are appealing? Why do users choose their product when compared to a competitor's product? What makes that product more interesting? How much importance do users place on any given attribute or benefit? E.g., what weighting can you give each item? What is the change in user-customer perception of value in your product over time? The answers to these questions can inform the design process and the marketing approach taken. It is important to establish where perceptions of value exist so that they can be enhanced within designs and communicated through marketing. What value is enough value? This is a good question. How much value does a user need from our product in order to adopt it? The answer to this is potentially straightforward: when the perceived cost of a product is lower than the perceived value of that product. Unfortunately, that definition assumes that the user has an unlimited budget, and that every time they decide something is good value, they purchase it. In reality, the perceived value must exceed the perceived value in all competing goods as well as the perceived cost of a product, and the user must have budget for it in order for them to adopt the product. This is important because a market of potentially millions of people can rapidly become a non-existent market even if the product holds a reasonable perceived value to the members of that market. Creating value is vital, but it is important to also ascertain whether or not the market sees the value created as important enough to engage with. Improving the value-to-cost ratio of any given product can also encourage adoption and ensure successful products in the long term. The takeaway: the more value a user perceives in a product compared to its cost, the more likely they are to adopt that product in their lives. Products compete for a user's budget, but not all value is perceived to be financial, as there are also functional, social, and psychological measures of value to consider. Market research can help uncover a user's perception of value and allow designers to build on these in future product iterations, and marketers to play to those values in communication with prospects. Customer and user perception of value, and what it means to designers. Interaction-design.org. Question: how can you categorize user values? What values you see so far in your future product? 2. Reading the Value Proposition Design. The Value Proposition Canvas is the tool at the center of this book. It makes value propositions visible and tangible, and thus easier to discuss and manage. It perfectly integrates with the Business Model Canvas and the Environment Map, 2 tools that are discussed in detail in Business Model Generation, the sister book to this one. Together, they shape the foundation of a suite of business tools. Use value proposition design to invent and improve value propositions. The tools we will study work for managing and renewing value propositions, and business models, just as much as for creating new ones. Put the value proposition and business model to work to create a shared language of value creation in your organization. Use them to continuously invent and improve value propositions that meet customer profiles, which is an undertaking that never ends. Assess your value proposition design skills. Complete our online test and assess whether you have the attitude and skills required to systematically be successful at value proposition design. Take the test before and after working through value proposition design to measure your progress. Entrepreneurial knowledge. You enjoy trying out new things. You don't see the risk of failing as a threat, but an opportunity to learn and progress. You easily navigate between the strategic and the tactical. Tool skills. You systematically use the value proposition canvas, business model canvas, and other tools and processes in your search for great value propositions and business models. Design thinking skills. You explore multiple alternatives before picking and refining a particular direction. You are comfortable with the nonlinear and iterative nature of value creation. Customer empathy. You relentlessly take a customer perspective and are even better at listening to customers than selling to them. Experimentation skills. You systematically seek evidence that supports your ideas and tests your vision. You experiment at the earliest stages to learn what works and what doesn't. Canvas. The value proposition canvas has two sides. With the customer profile, you clarify your customer understanding. With the value map, you describe how you intend to create value for that customer. You achieve fit between the two when one meets the other. The value proposition map. The value proposition map describes the features of a specific value proposition in your business model in a more structured and detailed way. It breaks your value proposition down into products and services, pain relievers, and gain creators. Should fit the customer profile. Customer profile. The customer segment profile describes a specific customer segment in your business model in a more structured and detailed way. It breaks the customer down into its jobs, pains, and gains. Customer jobs. Jobs describe the things your customers are trying to get done in their work or in their life. A customer job could be the tasks they are trying to perform and complete, the problems they are trying to solve, or the needs they are trying to satisfy. Make sure you take the customer's perspective when investigating jobs. What you think of as important from your perspective might not be a job customers are actually trying to get done. Distinguish between three main types of customer jobs to be done and supporting jobs. Functional jobs. When your customers try to perform or complete a specific task or solve a specific problem, for example, mow the lawn, eat healthy as a consumer, write a report, or help clients as a professional. Social jobs. When your customers want to look good or gain power or status. These jobs describe how customers want to be perceived by others, for example, look trendy as a consumer or be perceived as competent as a professional. Continue reading from the book. Customer pains. Pains describe anything that annoys your customers before, during, and after trying to get a job done or simply prevents them from getting a job done. Pains also describe risks, that is, potential bad outcomes, related to getting a job done badly or not at all. Seek to identify three types of customer pains, and how severe customers find them: undesired outcomes, problems, and characteristics, obstacles, risks, and undesired potential outcomes. Continue reading from ebook. Customer gains. Gains describe the outcomes and benefits your customers want. Some gains are required, expected, or desired by customers, and some would surprise them. Gains include functional utility, social gains, positive emotions, and cost savings. Seek to identify four types of customer gains in terms of outcomes and benefits: required gains, expected gains, desired gains, unexpected gains. There is an example of profile of 8 business book reader in the ebook, so continue from book. Value map. Products and services. This is simply a list of what you offer. Think of it as all the items your customers can see in your shop window, metaphorically speaking. It's an enumeration of all the products and services your value proposition builds on. This bundle of products and services helps your customers complete either functional, social, or emotional jobs, or helps them satisfy basic needs. It is crucial to acknowledge that products and services don't create value alone, only in relationship to a specific customer segment and their jobs, pains, and gains. Your list of products and services may also include supporting ones that help your customers perform the roles of buyer, those that help customers compare offers, decide, and buy, co-creator, those that help customers co-design value propositions, and transferer, those that help customers dispose of a product. This pain relievers, gain creators. Continue reading from ebook. Question. What is value proposition? Why do you need to create it? What kind of tool you can use? Value proposition describes the benefits customers can expect from your products and services. In every case, startups can benefit especially from the ideas and learning generated as a result of testing minimum viable product versions against relevant metrics. For a startup, it is essential to validate its value and growth hypotheses as soon as possible. In order to do that, the company has to come up with a version of its product that is complete enough to demonstrate the value it brings to the users, a minimum viable product, an MVP. It then needs to design experiments that will use the MVP to confirm or refute its value and growth hypotheses. On the one hand, an MVP may need less time to develop and should have just the bare bones a set of features. On the other hand, an MVP should include development of capabilities to measure its traction in the market. The MVP experiments of companies that rely on the paid engine of growth should track metrics related to lifetime revenue values and customer acquisition costs. Startups should use MVPs to engage target customers and test the value and growth hypotheses using metrics that are suited to the type of the engine driving a startup's growth, i.e., sticky engine, viral engine, or paid engines of growth. Like traditional human-centered design, Lean HCE is all about developing empathy with users to gain an understanding of the political, economic, and social metrics that guide behavior and decision-making of users. Lean HCE focuses on experiment in the social environment of the target users. Workshop 5 weekly pre-tasks. I have read the provided materials, watched videos, and answered the following question in a form of essay, 1 page minimum. 1. What is a value in HCE? How can you categorize user values? What values you see so far in your future product? Value in HCE is the perception of a product, both financial and non-financial. You can categorize user values as financial values, social values, psychological values, engaging with perceived value, market research. The value I see in our future product is to leverage information and communication technologies to enhance service levels, citizen well-being, sustainability, and economic development. 2. What is value proposition? Why do you need to create it? What kind of tool you can use? Value proposition is the benefits users of a product or service can expect from a product and service. I have to create a value proposition to help me invent and improve on our product or service value proposition. The value proposition canvas is a tool that has 2 ways to invent and improve a product or service proposition. It has 2 ways. With a customer profile, you clarify your customer understanding. With the value map, you describe how you intend to create value for that customer. 3. What is validated learning? What advantages it brings to HCE? Validated learning are ideas and leanings generated as result of testing a minimum viable product version against relevant metrics. For our team, it is essential to validate our value and growth hypotheses as soon as possible. In order to do this, we must come up with a version of our product or service that is complete enough to demonstrate the value it brings to the users, called a minimum viable product, MVP. We then need to design experiments that will use the MVP to confirm or refute our value and growth hypotheses. Just as in human-centered design, Lean HCE is all about developing empathy with our users to gain an understanding and measure their political, economic, and social metrics that guide their behavior and decision-making. 4. What is MVP? What good examples of right MVP do you know? What benefits it brings to HCE? What are main testing methods in MVP? Find materials on Lean experiment and summarize your findings. MVP, minimum viable product, is a version of a product or service that is complete enough to demonstrate the value it brings to users. Good examples are what Facebook's MVP did, connecting students together via their college or class and let them post messages to their boards. The idea already existed in Friends Reunited and other social platforms, but the simplicity of Facebook's approach and the traction it gained in the virulent world of college graduates proved unstoppable. This allowed almost all of the features that came after to build on that success. Similar experiences can be found in Zynga, Airbnb, and Amazon. In HCE, MVPs can be used to engage target customers and test the value and growth hypotheses using metrics that are suited to the type of the engine driving a growth, and to help invent and improve on products or services value proposition. The main testing methods to run are natural engine of growth and or viral engine growth or paid engine of growth. Summary. In summary, value in HCE is the perception of a product, both financial and non-financial, and you can categorize them as financial values, social values, psychological values, and market research understanding of perceived value. Value proposition is the benefits a user of a product or service can expect from a product or service. In our current project, we will create customer profile to clarify our customer understanding and create value for that customer. Validated learning are ideas and leanings generated as result of testing a minimum viable product version against relevant metrics. We will create a version of our product or service that is complete enough to demonstrate the value it brings to the users and measure political, economic, and social metrics that guide customer behavior and decision-making. Then validated learning generated from our ideas and hypothesis will guide our decision in creating value for our customer. The main testing methods we will run to test our hypothesis are natural engine of growth and viral engine of growth or paid engine of growth.